Prologue. Naruto, I have to tell you one thing. Sanin called a boy of 9 or 10 years old. Yes, sensei. I'm listening carefully. The boy was distracted from his studies with the concentration of chakra. As I already told you, your parents are not alive, the man said in a monotonous voice, who looked to be no more than 40. Yes, I remember, the boy replied in the same calm voice as his sensei said. You are most likely the last of your clan, the Uzumaki clan. Naruto already knew all this, and therefore just sat and played with fox chakra, creating and scattering mini Rasen shurikens. So, as Kurama already told you, your mother was the Jinchuriki of the 9 tails. Yes, I know all this. The guy decided to speed up the conversation. He wanted to practice more, and not sit and listen to what he already knows. Okay, now tell me, who is your father? Minato Namikaze, the boy replied coldly. And who was he? Sanin asked with obvious sarcasm. In addition to the fact that he was your student, you didn't tell me anything more about him. This empty chatter began to annoy the guy. Say what you want, he barked. He was the best ninja of the village hidden in the leaves. He was the 4th Hokage. Naruto was not impressed. It was he, along with your mother, who sealed the Kyuubi into you. And I'm actually not just your teacher, but also your godfather. So, what is next? The guy's tone didn't change at all. He remained all the same cold. Okay, let's get down to business. Jiraiya sighed. In 3 days you will be obliged to appear before the 3rd Hokage, and do as he wishes. Ha, the guy grinned. I don't even think about it. I didn't ask you. His teacher cut him off sharply. We'll be there in 3 days and no buts. Jiraiya's voice was as serious as ever. No. The guy tried to argue with the teacher. What you said. The voice with each word became more and more formidable, that even the cold of Naruto could not stop those ants that ran over him. Okay, the guy replied sharply. He knew that Kurama would not even think about giving him chakra to sort things out with sensei, and he himself would not be able to win. He'd tried once before, a story Naruto reluctantly recalled. I will take you to Hiruzen, and then how he will dispose. Understood? Yes, sensei. It's been 3 days. In Hiruzen's office. I see, you still managed to be responsible, the Kage said in a cheerful voice to his student. Yes, there is a little. He, smiling, rubbed the back of his head. So, the voice became official. Naruto, from tomorrow you will have to go to the Ninja Academy. The guy thought to object, but looking sharply at the teacher, he realized that it was not necessary. Where can I live? Here are the keys. The Kage threw 2 keys on Naruto's bunch. From now on, you can leave the village only with my permission. Jiraiya, find me Tsunade, and bring me here. Yes, teacher, he answered, and left, leaving behind him a haze that quickly dissipated in the air. And what are you doing here? Hiruzen turned to the guy. Well, shoo. In the next moment, only its owner remained in the cage's office. Naruto walked the streets slowly and confidently. He was dressed in a black and orange jacket, and the same orange breeches. He occasionally stopped to look around. Around were the usual stalls with souvenirs, residential buildings, shops. Everything was the same as everywhere else. Nothing interesting. The guy involuntarily remembered that tomorrow is his birthday. He did not wait for this date, and always forgot about it, because training was more important to him than some kind of holiday. And this year he was not going to deviate from his habit. Naruto came to his new home, and decided to fill the fridge with provisions first. He went to the grocery store he saw on the way to his new home. Having bought, he returned home very exhausted. He did not like shopping, in particular, because all the sellers, for some inexplicable reason, always overpriced. This time was no exception. He brought home a bunch of ramen. He didn't like it very much, but this cheap noodles didn't make any sense to inflate the price from any seller, and he didn't disgust Naruto as much as, for example, broccoli. He was generally sick of them. After placing all the ramen in the refrigerator, the guy noticed a small piece of paper on the table, and naturally, decided to read it. Naruto, everyone in the village knows that kurama was sealed inside you. So don't expect affection, maybe only your peers don't know this. So you have the opportunity to make friends. Friends? Uzumaki never had friends, and this did not stop him from becoming stronger, so he was not going to make them. Chuckling, Naruto continued reading. I didn't tell Hiruzen what techniques you know, and I ask you not to show them unnecessarily. Also, the third gave you permission not to undergo training, and training in elementary techniques, and therefore you are only obliged to go to the academy for a week before being assigned to teams. By the way, when they are assigned to teams, you will be given the protector of the leaf. And also, Naruto, don't look for me. I'm going in search of the elusive Tsunade Senju. I won't be back soon. I beg you, Naruto, leave the village intact and safe. No need to show your explosive nature, and someone to prove something. I hope you don't need your luck. But anyway, good luck Naruto. Take care of yourself. With love, Godfather. After reading, Naruto realized 3 things. So, the first thing is that I will have to be a fool and a weakling. Second, there is no need to wait for special attention in the village. They will need to prove it. And, most importantly, the third, you can't get into disputes. If I lose, I'll blow everything to pieces. The boy lay down on the bed, closed his eyes, and decided to chat with his best friend, whom he considered more like a brother. Kurama, why am I doing all this? The fox looked at the boy and replied, I don't know, but if Jiraiya hadn't picked you up on your birthday, you wouldn't be envied. I know, but it won't be so fun either. They need to prove that you, he pointed to Kyobi, are not very scary, but on the contrary, even cute and cheerful. Kurama burst into laughter. And how do you imagine this? Barely squeezed out the fox. I don't know, since I'll have to play the fool, maybe even make myself an imaginary dream. Yeah, to become Hokage. The fox just rolled around the room with laughter. The expression on the guy's face was painfully amused. A serious 9-year-old guy sits frowning with a smart face and discusses how to subdue the rams. Why not? That's it. Now I will become the new Hokage. After these words, the guy could not stand all this nonsense that he said, and began to laugh hysterically. 5 minutes later he came to his senses. Okay, brother. He turned to the fox. I'll probably take a nap, otherwise no one cancelled the conquest of the rams. They laughed again. Alright, you suddenly turned to something there. The little fox answered cheerfully. That's it, let's sleep. Naruto just nodded in response, and immediately fell asleep. The next day should be fun, because the conquest of the sheep is not easy for a 9-year-old guy. Academy. Boring mortal. Naruto got up very early, the perverted hermit taught him, and went to look for a place to warm up. He walked through the empty streets, but soon they will have to come to life. For the morning workout, he decided to change his look, and dressed in loose gray pants and a matte beige turtleneck. After walking around the streets enough, he headed towards a small forest, which he saw when he walked with Sensei to Hiruzen. And not in vain, near the forest there were 3 decks vertically driven into the ground. So, I'll knead the tie first, and then we'll see. And the guy began to knead the deck. Soon it became twice as thin, which became a sign of the end of the warm-up. As soon as Uzumaki moved away from the deck, he heard a short cry. He was coming from the forest. Naruto, without hesitation, ran towards the source of the scream, and soon found that 2 ninja with cloud protectors, a girl with a leaf protector, is kidnapped. In another situation, Naruto would not even think of saving the prisoner, but here he needed the trust of the village. And without hesitation for a long time, the guy rushed to save the girl. Those 2 just laughed. Some guy, not even a genin, runs towards 2 chunin. The one who was carrying the girl just moved on, while the other one was intent on stopping Naruto. What's there? Are the rats the first to run away? With a sneer, he shouted in pursuit of the first. Do you think some kind of cloud can do something to me? Shket, the second one called. There will be a lot for you and me. The answer came with a clear smile on his face. Listen, half-finished Shunin, Naruto replied coldly, so that even the first one had goosebumps on his back, and he could barely hear their conversation. You won't even be able to touch me with your finger, so I give you a head start. Call the first one, and maybe you can inflict at least one blow on me. Naruto was not going to play with them. They coveted the sacred, for his morning workout, and indeed for training as a whole, and they just won't be able to leave. You'll get it from me now, lousy little thing, the second hissed, but before he could finish, the first one was at his feet. Well, now attack, Uzumaki said yawning, and at that moment his clone stood behind him with a girl in his arms. Apparently, she was passed out. How are you? The second was just about to ask, as the first cut him off abruptly. Either we knock him out together, or bring him down. This guy is not so simple. He managed to dodge all my shurikens, and I'll obviously lose to him in taijutsu. The first rumbled a little nervously. Here, golden words, so how? Fight or leave? The second only laughed in response. He was clearly confident in his abilities. Of course, fight, so that I would run away from some jerk. He barked in response. Amick, I'll figure it out myself. You make a mistake. Attack together. You interfered with my training, which means I will arrange it with you. And if I fight with one, it will be equal to a fight with a tree. Are you the only one who knows how to be daring? Decided to pick up Naruto second. You said it right. It's time to warm up. Otherwise this empty chatter has already got me. And Uzumaki calmly took out only one kune. There were 3 crosses of kune, and 2 ribs broken by Naruto's foot, and he didn't even budge. The second was not even going to retreat from his idea, and continued to attack alone. Kick to the temple. Naruto easily parried. A left uppercut, and a parallel kune lunge, turning the body in half a turn, dodging the kune, and 2 more ribs on Naruto's account. Oh, you scum, roared the second. Aramis, let me help, suggested Amick. No, I myself, I will make him answer for the broken ribs. Good luck, Naruto yawned. And again, none of the attacks reached the novice. Aramis was furious. Naruto had already broken about a dozen of his ribs, and he was still trying to get him himself. After the Uzumaki broke about 5 more ribs, he asked for help. Together they were a little stronger, as it seemed to Naruto, but this did not give a reason to go on the attack. He, simply yawning, dodged the whole flurry of blows that heaped upon him, and at the right moment counterattacked, breaking his ribs. As a result, Amick had about 15, and Aramis had about 10. All this beating tired him, and he decided to finish it. When they started attacking Naruto once again, he dodged the first blow, and blocked the second, and at the same time, with a powerful blow of his hand, knocked Aramis under his feet. Amick immediately began to fuss. He did not know what to do. Either try to save his partner, or dump him in the village. And what should I do with them? Ha, Kurama? Naruto spoke calmly. If we got into a different situation, I would tell you, leave them here or kill them. But here, the fox paused, made a muzzle, which was possible for him, unperturbed, and said, if my memory serves me right, you were going to subdue the village of sheep. The fox held on with all his might, and become hawkish, to explain that the tailed ones are not so scary, and their carriers are not to blame for the fact that the animal was settled in them. After the last word the fox could no longer hold back. The horse neigh echoed in Naruto's head. The guy waited a bit, then created 2 clones that tied up, and took the prey, and moved straight to the cage residence, carrying a girl on his shoulder. All sorts of ceremonies. He stumbled into the cage's office, where his master had recently begun to be, and put the load in the right corner next to the door, and the girl on the leather sofa that was next to the table. Naruto, what does that mean? Hiruzen looked at Naruto in confusion. My ruined morning workout. Ask her for details. Uzumaki pointed at the girl. She was dressed in a soft purple and white jacket, and light blue breeches. Her hair was the color of the ocean. A small nose, a gentle smile, amazing eyes. This image in Uzumaki's head will remain for a long time. Okay, I went. I still have the academy today, the last guy said with a sneer, and disappeared into the span of the window. Naruto knew that he wouldn't need any sheets of pencils at the academy. They would be rubbed all the time about teamwork. Blah blah blah. For Naruto, it was not important. He was a loner, and the team was a burden. He has power, and he has a brother. Together with him, he has nothing to be afraid of. He will always tell you about the danger, and help in difficult times. Uzumaki, as soon as he got home, immediately changed into his native orange jumpsuit, and went straight to the academy. The week flew by quickly, albeit boring. Naruto almost slept in class. A couple of times, when he fell asleep he got chalk from Iruka, his class teacher, on the back of his head. During breaks he sat at his desk, and constantly thought about something. Didn't communicate with anyone. In popularity he was not inferior even to Uchiha. He was the star of the entire academy. The girls fell behind him all the time, and for Naruto no one, well, almost no one, fell, but they gave him no less attention. He learned that the girl he saved is the heiress of one of the strongest clans in the village. Her name is Hinata. And so, nothing else happened, except brainwashing. And now, the day of distribution has come. Team number 7, Iruka said in an official voice. Haruno Sakura, Sasuke Uchiha. Sakura is beside herself with happiness, and Inuzuka Kiba. The dunce was not enough in the team. Haruno's thought. A wonderful team. Uchiha, Mr. Popularity and one of the most indifferent people in the class. Haruno, a useless dreamer. Inuzuka, a slob and a loser. Kyobi, like Naruto. This distribution was fun. Team 8, Iruka continued. Akamachi-ji, Abraham Shino, Yamanaka Ino. Another team of geniuses. Chaoji is the main eater of chips. He never had to look for a long time. Abraham is Mr. Riddle. This scared Naruto a little. More specifically, Kurama, who, when Naruto thought about who this Shino was, yelled boom in time, and Uzumaki was confused by this. Yamanaka is another contender for the title of Miss Sasuke. You are mine. Oh god. Well, he has peers. Team 9, Iruka did not stop talking. Nara Shikamaru, Hinata Hyuga, Uzumaki Naruto. So SSS, my team, thought Uzumaki. Nara is calm, silent and too lazy, but for some reason Naruto seemed that these were not his main qualities. Hinata is a charming girl who, as soon as she meets Naruto's gaze, faints, owns Dojutsu. Well, let's have fun. This time it was Kurama. So, the 9th team stays here to wait for their sensei, and the rest follow me, Iruka commanded. The 9th was left to wait. Nara openly slept on the desk. Hina looked at Naruto, but as soon as he looked at her, she turned her gaze to something else, and Naruto just sat and looked out the window. In general, they were fooling around with nonsense for about 20 minutes, as after this time their new sensei appeared. He called them to the rooftop of the cage residence, where they followed. Black pants, a green vest over a black turtleneck, half of his face covered with a mask, a blindfold pulled over his left eye. White hair is a brief description of their new sensei. Sensei sat down on the railing, and his students on the steps, and started introducing themselves. I'm Hade Kakashi. Sensei introduced himself. There are many things that I love. I can't stand betrayal, and when my friends are harmed, I'm not going to talk about plans for the future. It's your turn. Pass the baton on. Nara Shikamaru. There are a lot of things I love, and only a small list of the opposite. I have not yet made plans for the future. Laziness. Naruto Uzumaki. There are very few things that I like, and the list of the opposite is not very small. I dream of becoming Hokage. The fox just laughed insolently in the guy's subconscious. Hinata Hyuga. There are very few things that I don't like, and those that I love, She looked at Naruto, but then pulled herself together. Not very fu. I dream of becoming a good head of the clan. So it's like this. Lazy. Quiet. A mystery. What a diverse team I got. I feel it will take a long time to understand the intricacies of their characters. But the wards will not let me get bored, thought Kakashi. Tomorrow we'll meet at training ground number 9 at exactly 8:30. It's better not to eat in the morning, Sensei warned them. It will be 8:25. Hina is waiting for her team. 8:27 Naruto arrived. 8:30 Shikamaru arrives. 8:35 warm up in the group. Tai only. 8:50 discussion of the sensei test. 9:05 Sensei arrived. EPT, Sensei, where were you? Naruto was outraged. The black cat crossed the road, Kakashi said, scratching the back of his head. I had to take a detour. Well, so what is our test? Shika asked lazily. Didn't I tell you that you would have a test? A little not expecting a question on the forehead, asked Hadake. Sensei, stop building a circus here, Naruto said menacingly. He could not stand such antics. Okay, the test is only for you, Naruto, he pointed to the guy. Why are we here then? Shika was indignant. And why only Naruto? Yes, Hinata joined the conversation a little embarrassed. Why only Naruto? Sensei didn't answer. Uzumaki was only happy. For some reason, after Kakashi's words, he became calm. He felt a sense of peace, although he didn't fully understand why. Kurama, can you help me? The guy asked his fox. Naruto, why do you hate Sensei so much? Kyabi asked. Why do you think so? Although yes, I forgot that he knows the Rasengan, but only the initial form. The Uzumaki said the last words a little distressed. Do you remember that you should not show all your strength? Yes, I remember. The mood is below the plinth. Play with him. I want to show you something in the evening. Kurama's smile stretched into all its teeth. Senjutsu to use? What do you think? The fox did not have time to answer the guy, as he was unceremoniously pulled out of the subconscious. Naruto, stop your head in the clouds, the sensei said, banging the guy on the head. Sensei, I wondered what my test is. I explained it once, but okay, I'll repeat it. Kakashi sighed. You must take these bells. He took out 2 silver bells, and threw them to Hina and Shika, from his partners. Hadake was very interested in the guy's strength, even before the incident with the Cloud Chunin, and after that, he did not take his eyes off the guy. But Uzumaki was careful not to lose his power even once. And now there is still an opportunity to check how quickly he can understand that you should never fight with friends. Sensei, I won't fight them, the guy said. You refuse to follow my instructions? Like thunder in broad daylight, Hadake's voice boomed. They're injured, and too inferior to me in strength, Naruto said indifferently. The copy ninja didn't look closely at first, but now he saw his student's slightly tattered clothes. This was none of Naruto's business. Plus, there were a couple of bruises on Nara's face, and a couple on Hina's arms. Has he defeated Hinata's Byakugan? Or was he able to overcome the shadow techniques of the Nara clan? Sensei couldn't believe his eyes, and Naruto was standing without even getting dirty. 8:35 Tai warm-up. Hina, if I'm not mistaken, you own the Byakugan. The guy turned to the girl. Why yes, she replied timidly. Nara, and your techniques are connected with the shadow, as I remember. Hinata and Shikamaru were a little shocked by the knowledge of their clans. Yes, Shika replied. Then, while Sensei is away, let's warm up in taijutsu, Uzumaki suggested. Nara was a little taken aback by this statement, but remained serious, as without knowing the skills of the Uzumaki, it is difficult to calculate the odds in one-on-one duels. But there are 3 of us, Hinata projected the well-known. That's great, Naruto said confidently. You 2 against me. Shika pricked up. Naruto's confidence was not false, and made him sit down and think, but he was not given. Nara, while you are thinking, The guy seemed to sense the thoughts of his teammate. They will already kill us on the mission. Shika understood that this is so, but on missions he will rely on the team, and here is the training. Why not? The thought went through Nara's head. But it's too problematic, followed her. But this is a chance to see the power of Uzumaki. Thoughts followed one or the other. But there will be another test. I'll see there. Shika decided for himself. Nara, I'm going to have a sparring session in secret, but this is only for me, and you can use your ninjutsu as you wish, the Nine Tails bearer said tipsily. Are you afraid of me? There will be 2 of you, and you will be able to use your techniques, and I'm only in secret. Naruto did not come down. But that's too problematic, came the reply. Okay, let's play until you first touch. I decided to make it more difficult for myself, but at the same time increase the likelihood of Nara's agreement. There is no question of Hina's agreement. She is too shy, and if those 2 decide, she will accept the offer. That is, if we touch you, the end of the game? Yes, Naruto confirmed. Well, Shika paused. I agree. And you, Hina, what do you say? It was a matter of decency. I agree, the heiress of the clan said boldly. Naruto was even a little surprised by her courage. She is quiet, inconspicuous, but here, out, she gained courage. Well, let's get started then, the Uzumaki commanded. Bukagen, Hina said. Just don't hit him hard there, we still have a test, Nara said, and disappeared into the forest, which was nearby. Hina rushed to the attack. Naruto was about to jump to the side, but he stared a little at his partner's pale blue hair, and almost got hit. In an instant, he dived under the girl, and made a sweep. Hina would have fallen, but put her hands out in time, and stood on the rear axle. The Uzumaki admired her grace, but a cry sounded. Naruto, Kune from behind, the fox yelled in his subconscious. So, the guy abruptly took the emphasis lying down, on his hands. I'm sorry, Naruto. Hinata raised her hand to strike, but the guy abruptly stood up on his hands and, pushing them off, bounced off the ground to the side. It didn't work out, the blonde only smiled, as he realized that he could not move. Hina, touch it, came a cry from the forest, near which Naruto had landed. Hinata raced at full speed, and Naruto's body did not obey. And then Nara's bandage either flew off, or just slept a little, but he began to correct it. This was the Uzumaki's chance. He made a small pocket for a pair of shurikens, in the bandage in the morning, and when Nara straightened the bandage, they fell into Naruto's hands. Nara abruptly lowered his hands so that Naruto could not put a block in any case, and noticed 2 shuriken flying at him. He had to dispel the technique, and Uzumaki quickly dodged Hinata's touch. Only now Uzumaki went to the clearing away from the shadows, and accepted the fight imposed on him by Hinata. Even without using Senjutsu chakra, he moved quickly, and managed to both attack and dodge. In the end, he only hit Hinata's arms, when she attacked him, and when they were already burning with her, she said that it was enough. Nara could not believe his eyes. Naruto, not owning a Keki Genkai, was able to escape even the slightest blow from Hina. Now it was his turn, but secretly he was weak. Nara was an excellent strategist, but he didn't fight very well. Outcome of the battle. Hinata, bruised hands and quite chakra depleted. Nara, a couple of bruises on his face, a little tattered clothes, and a small consumption of chakra. Uzumaki, not the slightest scratch. The chakra was not used. 910 Sensei's explanation. How are you? Hatake simply had no words. I got bored, and I decided to arrange a warm-up in taijutsu, the guy said with a slight yawn. And how did you fight? Hina and Shika against each other, and the winner is with you? Sensei said, hoping for a positive answer. No, I'm against them myself. Naruto Sensei trampled all hopes. This is true? He asked the Uzumaki's partners. They just nodded their heads in agreement. Well, how about my test? He was a little interested. Passed, only partially. If you justify yourself in the missions, I recognize your complete passing of the test. Well, when is the first mission? Come tomorrow at 9 to the Hokage's office, and there we will go on the first task. Everyone nodded in agreement, and began to disperse, but Hatake and Uzumaki remained. Sensei, the guy started, I want to be on the team myself. Author's note, leave criticism and comments. Friend. Sensei, the guy started, I want to be alone. I don't need a team. Hatake just sighed. Wow, application. The thought soared in Naruto sensei's head. But he quickly gathered himself, and did not make him wait long for an answer. Naruto, I understand that your teammates are obviously inferior to you in strength, but this is not a reason for such a decision. The sensei tried to reason with the student. Kakashi, the guy's subordination obviously didn't care now. I'm at least equal in strength to you. The guy continued in a serious voice, but it's not about strength, or rather, it's not like that. I'm gaining strength faster myself, and the team will be a burden to me. For me, there is nothing that would make me stay in this team. Naruto pressed on the sensei. I have a goal, to become Hokage. The fox just stretched out in a smile, and I will achieve it, one way or another. Naruto, sensei approached the guy, and ruffled his hair with his hand. Hokage is not only an indicator of human strength, it is not only the face of the village, and it is not only a person who sits and distributes tasks to everyone. Hokage is a village, especially Hatake emphasized the last word. And how to understand this? Hokage is a village. This understanding of the Kage's words made a bit of a mess in Uzumaki's thought. When you understand this, I will personally apply for you to become a Chunin without testing for a Chunin. The guy just grunted, ran the index finger of his right hand under his nose, stretched out in a smile, and put the same right hand forward with it raised up, thumb up. Such a promise of the sensei suited him. Because the Chunin exam is a long and boring business, and then you just need to understand what the catch of the words is, and that's all. He is a Chunin, and a Chunin is a person an order of magnitude closer to the Hokage, and he can act without a command. Well, the Kyobi carrier stretched out even more in a smile, so that it seemed to him that all the teeth could be counted. I agree to such a condition. That's great, but until then, you remain in the team, and we won't talk about it anymore. Even through the mask, you could see the warm smile of Sensei. Do you remember? We have the first task tomorrow. Don't be late. Sensei was just thinking of sneaking away from the guy, as he called him. Hatake, I swear not to talk about it again, until I understand the meaning of the words, and also, while I'm in the team, I won't let anyone offend my partners. Naruto stood on one knee, and cut his right hand just above the wrist, so as not to inadvertently touch the veins. If I break this oath, I give my hand to cut off. The fox was serious. He knew that if a guy takes an oath, then he himself will die in order to fulfill it. It has already happened once. Flashback. Naruto, you won't be able to use the seal of the god of thunder, because you don't own the element of lightning. Jiraiya said. He knew that Naruto had futon as the main one, and Suiton supplemented it, but he didn't have a predisposition to the element of lightning. If my father could use it, then I can too, the 7-year-old boy said, not looking up from reading the scroll of Guratora. How many times do I tell you? You have no predisposition to Raiden. Sensei almost yelled at the guy. Then she will appear to me, and after these words he cut his left hand, and uttered an oath. I swear on my blood that within this month, I will master Raiden, and be able to use the seal of the Thunder God, but if I fail, I will cut off this hand myself, but I will continue to study Raiden anyway. The teacher took this oath as a joke. He did not help the guy, since Minato owned Raiden, but not his teacher himself. And during the whole month, Uzumaki did not return to the hotel. The guy loaded himself with terrible workouts, and followed Kurama's every advice. When the end of the term came, Jiraiya came to the clearing, where the guy was training. For the first time I must notice, he was horrified. Half of the forest was gone, or rather, it was all tumbled down, and the guy himself was lying unconscious. Jiraiya without thinking twice began to bring his student to life. Naruto. Naruto. Sensei yelled. So, the boy cursed softly. I couldn't use the seal of the Thunder God, the Uzumaki said as soon as he woke up. You see, what did I tell you? Sensei said with a satisfied voice. But I didn't say I couldn't use Raiten. Naruto stood up with a sly smile. Did you manage to learn Raiten? Yes, did Theo, and I'm cool. And with these words he took out a kunai, and made an incision of medium depth on his entire left hand. But I did not fulfill the oath, and must repay with blood. End flashback. Then the guy fulfilled his oath only half, and therefore made a wound of medium depth on the whole arm. Kurama still remembered this incident to every detail, because then he treated the boy with his chakra. As the guy expected, this sensei didn't take his oath the way it was supposed to. But this did not upset him. He understood that he had time, he knew how to think, which means that the conclusion suggests itself. He will find a solution to this problem. In the meantime, you can have fun with the kids, he thought to himself. Although he was their age, but put himself much higher than them. That's it, Naruto, you can be free. Tomorrow we go on a mission. Prepare better. And with these words, the sensei disappeared in a puff of smoke, leaving his student alone. Naruto himself wandered around the village for a long time after that, not knowing what to do. After wandering around Konoha enough, he lay down on the roof of one of the houses, and began to follow the floating clouds. It calmed him down, and helped him to think. Uzumaki did not even imagine that he had solved the problem even when he took an oath, but he needed to realize this decision, and follow it faithfully, without deviating from the path. While the guy was thinking how to solve this problem, unnoticed by him, a man entered, who settled down next to him, and also looked at the clouds. Nara, what are you doing here? Naruto, only noticing him, decided not to hesitate with the question. I can ask you the same question, the answer came lazily. This is my favorite place, since the days of the academy. Well then, it's clear, I'm sorry to disturb you. Uzumaki intended to leave, when he heard. Stay, I want to ask you something, Nara said in a more serious voice. Ask me what I can, I'll answer that, but remember, a question is a question, the Uzumaki warned. Let's start with politics, shall we? What do you think about this world? I'll be frank, the blonde voiced another warning. I don't need you to lie to me. Shiko was indignant, he seemed to be going to ask questions not, in order to hear a lie. No, you misunderstood me. I'll call everything my things, Naruto corrected himself. Ah, well then, okay, with your permission, I will answer the same way. The guys shook hands, as a sign of common agreement. The world is shit, and we are all drowning in it. The answer to Nara's question was heard. What goals are you pursuing? Went the answer question. I don't have them, I just live for myself and my friends. Friends again. Who are they? Uzumaki thought, but his thoughts were interrupted by a question. How do you know so much about the clans of Konoha, since you've only been here recently? I traveled all the time, and I heard a lot about it. Of course I had to filter the information, but when you and Hina answered my question, everything fell into place, the blue-eyed man answered in a calm voice. Why did you decide to ask me such questions? I'm sure that if you were worried about my strength, then you would ask such questions, Naruto asked smiling. Now I am sure that I asked the right questions. Nara smiled in response. I have already seen your strength, although I am sure that it was about a fifth of it, if not less. I was more worried about what kind of person you are, because on missions I will be obliged to trust you with my life, and those who shout at the top of their lungs that they will become Hokage die without even having time to protect anyone. And now, I'm sure that becoming Hokage is your goal. If not a goal, then it's clearly a cover for something more global. And I can only imagine what your plans are. Naruto realized that Shika was not only an excellent, if lazy, tactician, he was remarkably good at people and strategies for approaching them. Now my question is, can I trust you with my life and missions? Yes, be sure. Uzumaki showed the wound on his left hand, and retold the oath given to Hadake. I'd like to chat more, but we'll still have time, so bye. Saying goodbye, Naruto disappeared. Until a friend. I hope you will soon understand the meaning of this word. Naruto read Naruto like an ajar book, but he was not going to open it completely. This should have been done by the owner of this book. The day was drawing to a close. Naruto slept peacefully on the roof, and not far away, a little to the side, Naruto looked at Shiku, and could not understand what this feeling was. The sun set, giving way to darkness, but Naruto was still sleeping, and Uzumaki took the guy in his arms, and carried him home. For some reason, when he brought the sleeping Naruto air, no one threw any sidelong glances at him, and did not even try to call him a demon. But most importantly, no one even had a spark of hatred in his eyes, only quiet curiosity. Naruto, having returned Naru home, went to train. Author's note: typing a couple of lines is not difficult. Leave criticism and comments. Tazuna. Start. Naruto was at the training ground, from which he ran to save Hina a week ago. But he didn't practice, no, he just lay on the ground, and looked at the sky. Uzumaki examined the stars. There were millions of them, although no, more correctly, billions. All the heavenly bodies, shone in the same color, but each had its own peculiarity. One was a little larger in size, compared to the others. The other was brighter than its neighbors. The third fell. The guy could not take his eyes off the sky. It was so peaceful, so quiet, no wars, no hatred. There was no place for betrayal or disappointment. Everything was in harmony there. This Jinchuriki just wanted to be a star, and watch the world. But such beautiful moments were constantly interrupted by someone, mainly Jiraiya. But now this moment was interrupted by Kurama. Naruto, do you remember what I wanted to tell you? Liz asked. Of course I remember what's there. I listened to you carefully, the guy answered. Don't get me wrong, but I can give you the opportunity to talk to your father or mother. The fox was serious. He did not know how Naruto would react, because it had been a long time, and Kyuubi was still silent about this. How? And why did you just remember that? Uzumaki not so strongly listened to the words of his bija. When Minato and Kushina sealed me into you, they left part of their chakra along with memories to help you master me. But since you did not try to subdue me, but made friends, this chakra was not used, and now at any moment, I can call any of your parents, but only once each. Kurama did not subside. I remembered this all the time, but it seemed to me that it was too early to call them, since you did not have enough questions for them, and now, as I see it, your advice will obviously not be superfluous. But I can't help you in such matters, because I have you, the first person, who became like a brother to me. But how to find out who my friends are? I myself have no idea. The little fox hung his nose. Do not worry. The fox began to calm the guy. I understand that you thought that I would start to hate you, because you were silent about the fact that I can talk to my parents, but instead I am glad that you told me this before did not tell. After all, I was a little stupid boy, and could simply spend such an expensive gift. After the words of the Kyuubi guy, it became easier, although he had known Naruto for more than a year, but it was the most unpredictable ninja, and it was a little difficult to predict the guy's reaction. Who would you like to talk to? The fox said with a smile. With his father. He was the Hokage, and will be able to tell me in this situation more than my mother. The guy answered smiling. Well, then I call him. The fox said seriously. Naruto's subconscious room began to fill with Kurama's chakra, followed by a blinding flash, and the fox's chakra disappearing. And in the place, where there was the largest amount of Kyuubi's chakra, a silhouette appeared. It became clearer, and when one could see the man and his clothes, a cry was heard. It can't be, shouted the silhouette, the Nine Tails is free. Where is Naruto? Don't yell, please. The guy turned to the silhouette. And don't call my brother the Nine Tails vet. It's insulting. Surprise froze on the face of the silhouette. Now Naruto could see the silhouette's attire and features normally. Although he had the greatest surprise on his face, the pupils were dilated, the eyebrows were raised in astonishment, and the line of the mouth was twisted into a grimace. He was dressed in a white cloak with the inscription, "The Fourth Hokage," and red flames at the bottom, a green vest, blue pants and a black turtleneck. No, well, you can understand him. He expected to see how his son rips off the seal to limit the strength of the Kyuubi, who, in turn, makes a roar throughout the room. And here, a guy with hair the color of the Hokage himself, and clear blue eyes, sitting on the fox, tells him not to yell, and calls Kyuubi his brother. "And Naruto, is that you?" the silhouette said a little timidly. I'm Dad. Calm down, I'll explain everything to you now." With these words, the fox let the guy down on one of his tails, and the guy himself made a small effort on himself, and all three ended up in a clearing. Sitting comfortably and seating his father in front of him, Naruto began the story from his childhood to the present day. The silhouette listened attentively, then let out another cry. "So, I would have your opportunities at that age." He was happy about the achievements of his son, but then the guy interrupted him. "I understand everything, but you don't have such a small desire to introduce yourself once again, because I personally don't know you. Only stories. And really, where are my manners?" The question went into the void. "Minato Namikaze, fourth Hokage of the village hidden in the leaf." "Well, that's better. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, the son of the hero of the village, hidden in the foliage Minato Namikaze, and a student of the perverted hermit Jiraiya." "So, let's get down to business," the guy said sharply. "I need advice." He turned to Minato. "In what case?" the Hokage asked. "What does it mean, Hokage, village? Why do you have such an interesting question?" Hadake Kakashi asked. "He is now my sensei," calmly replied the guy. "Then I can't help you in this matter, unless..." Namikaze paused. "Tell me your conversation." Naruto briefly outlined the situation, not forgetting to mention the oath. Minato, after listening to the story, just laughed. "What's so funny?" For some reason, that laugh hurt Naruto. "It's just that you already know the answer, but you have to realize it," the Kage replied. "Okay, another question. Who are friends?" It is very difficult to answer this question unambiguously. Friends are people who come to your rescue when their help is needed. These are the people who will follow you to hell and bring you back home. These are those who can silently sit with you, and it will become easier for you. They will not be sure to say what is in your soul. They themselves will understand it without words. You can entrust such people with the biggest secrets and thoughts in your life, and they will never turn away from you. They can easily entrust their life to you, and even at the cost of their own save your life. Well, this is such a brief description of someone who can be called a friend. Do you still have questions for me? Because my time is running out? Yes. Do you have a secret place somewhere where you kept your techniques? This was already less important, but Uzumaki decided to ask. Yes, he pointed to his head. Here. And now, he touched the edge of his finger to the guy's forehead and said, "And now here," and pointed to Naruto's head. And indeed, the guy had such a large influx of information that he just passed out. "Kurama, right?" the Kage asked. Fox just nodded in response. "Take care of my son, and tell him that both I and his mother are proud of him. We believe that the path of hatred is closed for him, and also, sorry for what happened before." Minato scratched his head guiltily. "Don't be afraid for the guy. I'll save him," the fox answered calmly. "I will convey your words to him. And I also forgot about the past a long time ago. Naruto helped, so I don't want to stir him up." The fox grinned. "Well, then the world?" Namikaze said smiling. "Yes, thanks for such a nice and smart Jinchuriki." Only the fox thanked Minato as he disappeared. "Goodbye Minato, hero of the leaf," the demon already said to himself. Naruto woke up in the morning. It's 10 minutes to 9 on the clock, and it hasn't been assembled yet. He had no choice but to fold a couple of seals. He easily folded them, and found himself in his apartment, or rather in the closet. Now it became clear to him why the fourth used sheets of paper with seals. Naruto instantly collected everything he needed, and sealed it in a scroll. He did not even think that he was using completely new techniques for him. It seemed to him that he had known them all his life. He had 5 minutes left, but that was enough to get to the Cage's residence, as it was not far from his house. When Naruto arrived, everyone was already there. He arrived on time. Kakashi pushed open the doors, and his first students entered the Cage's office. Hokage-sama, we have arrived for the first mission, Sensei reported. Everyone is assembled, so here is your mission, rank D, since you are still beginners. Everyone, take it to the task. The team was moving, but Naruto stood unshakably, glaring at Hiruzen. Well, what else do you want? Naruto, you are not alone. I gave you a mission. Go, commanded the owner of the office. Third Hokage, the guy said. Don't you think that you took our mission from the wrong stack of ranks? Ha! Uzumaki, you are beginners, so missions of rank D are not higher. With every word the guy began to beat more and more from hard to control anger. Hiruzen, to hell with subordination, the guy thought. I studied with your student for 9 years, one of the 3 legendary Sannin, and you are sending a team on a rank mission. I myself will cope with mission C. He embellished this a little so as not to frighten others. And here we are a team. This should be at least rank B. Naruto, the fact that you studied for 9 years with Jiraiya does not give you the right to drag in an unprepared team of genin. But so be it. I'm in a good mood today. Here's a C rank for you. Escort. Okay, for a start it will do. Where is the one we should accompany? Naruto agreed as Kakashi stood in mute shock. A 10-year-old boy is standing and talking with the Hokage. Mr. Tazuna, here is your escort, Hiruzen called. A man entered the room, 10 years older than Jiraiya. He was dressed like an ordinary peasant, simple gray trousers, tattered in places, a gray, formerly gray, t-shirt, also not in the best condition. And this is my escort? These brats? Tazuna was indignant, but Naruto interrupted him. If you call me a brat one more time, you'll regret it. I warn you only once, the guy hissed at the one, which made Tazuna immediately fall silent, and they left the Cage's office. We walked quietly and calmly through the village. When they reached the main Eternal Guards, Kakashi said that they were on assignment, and the whole group began to walk. It was their first mission, and no one was going to fail it. Author's note, Ditpeo, yes, I got carried away. Tazuna. Naruto power. The 9th team with its full complement led its customer to the country of waves. Kakashi went first, followed by Hinata and Tazuna, and last came Naruto and Shikamaru. The weather was clear, not a cloud in the sky. Uzumaki walked quietly, only occasionally looking at Shiku. He could not understand what Minato was talking about. You already know the answer, but you need to understand it. This phrase did not give the Uzumaki heir any rest. He replayed the conversation he had with Kakashi and Nara over and over again. Why the conversation with Shika was scrolling in his head, he himself did not fully understand. Intuition told him that the answer could be found in that conversation. And then the blonde decided to talk about it with Nara. This person seemed closer to him than any of the village. But why? He had no idea. Shika, the guy said calmly. I want to play yesterday's game with you again, the blonde suggested. I agree. Without hesitation, the guy answered. As they walked, the Nara could see that the Uzumaki was clearly excited about something, but he tried to hide it. Well, then I'll start. Why did you ask yesterday? Can I trust you with my life? The answer is obvious, he said in a slightly uncomprehending voice. Do you remember the deal? To call everything by its name. And then Nara realized what Uzumaki was driving towards. I remember. Well, as you understand, this question was not about what I can't put my back under protection. Yeah, let's do less. Naruto interrupted his partner. Well, I needed to know if I could become a friend of a guy who appeared in the village only recently and did not let anyone near him. The guy answered monotonously, lazily. Why are you so worried about this question? Uzumaki continued. Wait a moment. Question for question. Now it's my turn. Why didn't you let anyone near you? And why don't you let them in? And indeed, at the academy, some girls were interested in a guy, but not because they liked him. Just a beginner. You need to know more about him. Flashback. Naruto, right? 3 girls came up, not from the class where Uzumaki studied. I am. So what? Coldly responded Guy. Tell us about yourself, asked the one on the left. Black hair, brown eyes, blue sweatshirt, gray breeches, yellow t-shirt. No, the guy answered coldly. But why? The girls said with one voice. It's none of your business, leave me, he commanded. We even know more about Mr. Academy than about you. Well, tell me, the one on the right whined. All clothes had a greenish-gray color, breeches, a beacon, a belt, a jacket. I'm not this show-off, leave me. Uzumaki have already started to get these annoying. Who are your parents? Where do you live? What can you do? Did not let up the one that stood in the middle. Sportswear and desert camouflage. I don't advise you to take me out, leave me immediately, Naruto said angrily. No, no, they answered together. I warned you. The guy looked into his subconscious. Kurama, will you do a genjutsu? Just not strong, the guy asked the fox. The next minute, the girls began to tremble. Then, when they came to their senses a little, they ran away from the guy. What did you show them? The guy asked. That their last girlfriend takes away their uchiha. The fox was pleased with the work done. Thank you, Kurama. The guy thanked his roommate in a cheerful voice. Address, and the smiling fox has disappeared deep in subconsciousness. And Nara kept watching this. He was also interested in the newcomer, but the guy understood that it was impossible to talk to him in the usual ways, and postponed this matter for later. End flashback. I am a loner, and have not trained to work in a team, and even more so to communicate with everyone, the Uzumaki replied calmly. Now my question is, why did you care so much, if you could become my friend? It's hard for me to justify the answer, but it's somewhere like this. I saw that you need a friend whom you can open up and trust, Nara answered in the same calm voice. So, my turn. Can you call me your friend? Just as Uzumaki was about to say no when he saw Hadake being split in half, and the 2 rain ninjas running towards Hinata, Tazuna. Nara, guard Tazuna with Hina, I'll deal with them, Naruto commanded. And at that moment, Shika was next to Hyuga Tazuna, taking a defensive stance, and the blonde rushed at full speed towards the attackers. The fight with the Uzumaki took the first, and the second ran to Tazuna and his guards. Crossing the kune, and the claws of the attacker, hooking, and racing in from above, the first is neutralized. As soon as Naruto turned around, he saw the second one caught in Nara's shadow imitation technique. Only Shika deprived the second move, as Hinata, with the touch of the light hand, knocked him out. At the moment Hinata delivered the last blow, Hadake appeared and said with a smile on the whole mask. Well done, you still work well in a team. It was he who turned to Hina and Shika. And you, Naruto, are really strong. I would like to see what else you can do. Kakashi, once again you will notice a ninja, and so fade into a brazen. Feel my entire arsenal of techniques, Uzumaki warned his sensei. Okay, don't boil over. The sensei calmed the student. He, of course, wanted to learn all Naruto's techniques, but obviously not on himself. By the way, how did you understand about the guest? Shika asked the blonde. While we were walking, I saw a puddle. And what kind of puddle can there be, if there has been rain for about 2 days? Naruto replied. Oh yes, sensei. I can give you a little hint about my strength. But this is only half, the guy said with a sly smile. Everyone pricked up their ears. waiting for the Uzumaki's words. Part of my arsenal consists of your sensei's techniques, and I finished half of them. Naruto burst into open laughter, watching his sensei's eyes, enlarged to the level of saucers, and only the bandage prevented his jaw from falling. The rest just looked at Naruto a little bewildered, but the main thing is that the sensei understood what it was about. So, now judge for yourself about my strength. The blonde barely stood on his feet from laughter. Sensei, who was your teacher? Hinata asked. So, that's not about that now. Hadake abruptly interrupted his student. Mr. Tazuna, you indicated rank C in the mission. Rank C is protection from bandits and other scum, and in your case, this is a mission of rank B. What do you say in your defense? As you know, there is no hidden village in the land of waves. He began to talk about the importance of the bridge he is building, even hurting Hinata's feelings a bit, who just chuckled. Having finished his story, the blonde moved a speech. Sensei, you see what problems there are in this country, but we can help, and they will remember us there. Let's not go back, especially since we have enough fighting strength to contain 24 shinobi at the same time. Hadake thought for a moment, looked at Naruto, who was pleased with the complicated mission, on Hinata, who cherished regret for this country and its inhabitants, to Naru, who was more than ever interested in the complicated mission. He made a decision. Well, if you ask like that, it's fine, but you must understand that this is already a rank B mission, and the fights can be more difficult, the sensei warned his students. We agree, they said together. And they continued on their way. Went in the same lineup. And Naruto was smiling. The mission has become more difficult, which means he can have fun. Passing by the river, Hinata's cry was heard. Everyone lie down, and a moment later, a huge sword flew over them, and stuck in a tree. The ninja jumped on the sword. Half of the face was bandaged, the bandage of the country of water was crossed out, the torso was bare, and the pants were bluish with vertical stripes. Mamachi Zabuza, Hadake said, renegade ninja of the land of water. Another name is Demon Zabuza. A master of silent killing, his victims didn't even have time to realize who was killing them. Kakashi seemed to be reading the dossier of a ninja standing on a sword. One of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. In the year of his graduation, he killed all the graduates, for which he was nicknamed Demon, a criminal of rank S. Flattered, he replied, my turn. Hakate Kakashi, Kanaha's Jnin, former Anbu, middle name, Copy Ninja Kakashi, thanks to his Sharingan in his left eye, copied more than 1,000 techniques, for which he was nicknamed. This year was a complete surprise for him. He was removed from the Anbu, and made sensei for 3 genin, one of whom is the son of the 4th Hokage. Hinata and Shikamaru looked at Naruto with puzzled eyes. Now they understood why they could not even touch him during the warm-up, because he is the son of Minato Namikaze. And when they remembered Uzumaki's hint about their strength, their eyes were ready to fall out of their sockets, and their tongues fell out down to the bark of the tree, in which the sword was sticking out. I understand that Hinata is hard to imagine, but try. Funny the picture is obtained. I understand that you are the son of the 4th, he pointed to Naruto. You can't tell by those 2 that they are strong, but you clearly have strength. Let's check. No, Kakashi Zabuza interrupted abruptly. I will be your opponent. Wait, kid, I'll finish with him, and then I'll take care of you. The smile was visible even through the bandage. The fight has begun. Tazuna. Preparation. Hadake immediately opened his left eye, and his students saw the Sharingan. Hidden fog technique, Mamachi said calmly. A heavy fog formed, and no one could see beyond the outstretched hand. Shikamaru and Hinata were very alert. Tazuna was already preparing to die. Hadake ran forward. Only Uzumaki stood calmer than usual. Hina, Byakugan, Nara said. Look around the area for possible support for Zabuza, the blonde added. A minute passed, and then Hinata's voice was heard. Northeast, wearing the Anbu mask of Mist Village, the girl told the teammate. Shika, Hina, stay with Tazuna, I'll help sensei. the fourth son commanded. Futon, free space. And in the next moment, the fog began to dissipate. The Genin team saw their sensei, and the renegade ninja fight. Hatake, holding a kunai with both hands, tried to hold off Zabuza's decapitator's blows. Sensei, use Kato. Uzumaki shouted. Kakashi jumped back from Zabuza. Kato, fireball. Mamachi replied. Suiton, water dragon. At the same moment, the blonde screamed. Futon, the whiff of the white dragon. The fireball collided with the semi-transparent white air dragon, and began to grow in size, while increasing its power. Zabuza's water dragon was only able to partially neutralize the orb. The apostate had already realized that he would not be able to avoid the ball, but then the Anbu of Mist appeared in front of him, and used a technique unknown to Kakashi's team. He still managed to stop the fireball, but the mask cracked, and the guy received moderate burns. Zabuza, quickly grabbing it, disappeared from sight even of Hinata's Byakugan. Naruto, can you use elemental techniques? Hatake asked in a slightly shocked state. I told you I can use all of your teacher's techniques, came the blonde's reply. But my teacher didn't use the futon, the sensei snapped at his student. Do not make me repeat myself again. I said that only half of my arsenal of techniques, the guy replied indignantly. Then answer my two questions. First, did you finish my sensei's invention? And second, what other elements can you use? Okay, I will answer, but only once. Yes, I finished my father's technique. I perfectly use all the elements except the earth, and Raiden is badly given, the guy said a little proud of himself. Sensei, was your sensei the fourth Hokage himself? Hinata said in surprise. Yes, he answered the girl, and immediately turned to Uzumaki. How could you master him? After all, even the best nin can use no more than two, and you use all the techniques. You need to be a genius, and not like an uchiha. Uchihas are geniuses of Kato and Sharingan, but no more. In my memory, you are the first who says that he uses all the elements. Prove it to me. I have nothing to do, and although no, I agree, but I will show you the finished technique of my father. Are you talking about the raceman? Yes, look. And the guy began to concentrate the chakra in his hand, having previously created a clone, which is now inactive. When the chakra began to take the form of a ball, he said, as far as I know, neither my father, nor my old sensei, nor my new sensei, have gone further than mastering the form of chakra in this technique. Yes, and Kakashi created the same chakra ball. Now look, the clone began to add air chakra, and the chakra ball began to take on the shape of a shuriken. The clone, having finished adding air chakra, evaporated as Naruto continued. Now this is a finished technique. He had in his hand a huge shuriken, from the owner's chakra, and his own elemental chakra. When Sensei, amazed by the strength of his student, examined the technique, the blonde dispelled it. You will still have time to see its power, but I do not advise you to fall under it. Destruction within a radius of 7 to 10 meters is guaranteed. And what did you call her? Shikamaru asked dumbfounded. Futon, Rasen Shuriken, now completely proud of himself, the guy said. Kakashi just sat on the ground, and laughed hysterically at what he saw. The guy, not being a Chunin, learned an S-rank technique, and demonstrates it quite calmly. Sensei felt discouraged, not expecting such skill from his student. However, Naruto's experience is still worth gaining, before senior comrades such as Hatake himself wished to take lessons from him. Everyone around Naruto was in mood shock. Hatake could not utter a word. Hinata only sighed, and Ahila, Shikamaru, began to think about saving from the Uzumaki, if he blurted out too much, and Tazuna simply went nuts from the reaction of the escort captain, and from the strength of the genin. 5 minutes later. People, can we continue the path? Huh? The blonde suggested. Yes, exactly, we have the same mission, agreed Nara. Well, then let's go, commanded Sensei, who had been sitting in his world for about 2 minutes, and was thinking about something. Hina and Tazuna simply nodded silently. And the whole team moved on. All the way Naruto was tormented by the thought of that Anbu's technique. How was he able to stop the futon-enhanced Katen, even if the fireball was slightly weakened after meeting Suiton? They arrived at the port and boarded a boat. Their journey passed in silence. Everyone had food for thought. But still, Tazuna exchanged a few words with the blonde. Naruto, right? The guy only nodded in agreement. I must apologize for what happened in your Hokage's office. You and your team are not only very strong, but you are also very generous. I am indebted to you. Come on, old man, just don't call me a jerk, and there won't be any problems. Uzumaki only smiled a little. 10 minutes later. It seems we have already arrived, the sensei called to his students. And the whole team unanimously left the boat, following the example of their customer. Tazuna took them to his house, and introduced them to his family. On the first evening, everyone rested and recuperated. It was a new morning. The 9th team understood that Zabuza and that guy would lick their wounds for at least 2 days. That is, they had 2 days of training, and Hadake was going to drive his students to the very worst. So, today you have training with chakra control, Sensei explained. You will have to climb a tree without hands. Sensei, stop telling stories to the people, the Uzumaki held while sitting on a branch. Get down from there, your training, Hadake commanded. I'm going. Smiling, the guy without hands began to descend, along the bark of a tree. I see you already know how to control the chakra, Mr. Left Sharingan said smiling. I foresaw this, and therefore you have a different training. Yes you? Naruto had an evil smile on his face, and devils were dancing in herds of herds. Let's wait a minute, I want to look at the skills of my partners. Okay, Shikamaru, Hinata, get started, just get yourself a kune to mark the height, Kakashi said. Sensei, as I understand it, we just need to release a certain amount of chakra through our legs, and run up thanks to it? Nara asked. That's right, well, let's get started. The smile did not leave Kakashi's face. What was he up to? This thought was spinning in the head of Uzumaki, and did not give the opportunity to divert attention to anything else. A minute later, Shika and Hina were standing upside down on the highest branches. Oh, that's how? Hadake was amazed at the speed of mastering his students. These seemingly simple skills, but in fact not very easy. Well then, come with us. And the whole team moved deep into the forest. I was going to teach Naruto how to use Raiden, but as I see it, it will be useful to teach you elemental techniques as well. But first, Sensei caught a couple of flying sheets and continued. Here are the sheets for you. He handed them to Hinata and Shikamaru. Close them on both sides with the palms, and concentrate the chakra in the palms. Now it's my turn. The Uzumaki rejoiced. Learning new techniques was a treat for him. So, Naruto, your task now is to repeat this technique. And Kakashi began to accumulate only Raiden's chakra in his hand. After a moment the technique began to emit a crackle, which grew into the likeness of 1,000 birds singing. Hadake created a ball from Raiden, but it was difficult for him to keep the shape and therefore, over and over again, small lightning bolts popped out of the ball. Chidori, Sensei said the name of the technique and dispelled it. Sensei. But this is boring, I have already mastered the form. The guy was indignant. And you try? Hadake smiled. Naruto began to concentrate Raiden, but as soon as he tried to shape the lightning element, he lost control of his chakra. Realizing that he himself would not be able to master this technique quickly, he summoned 300 clones. The boy's sensei never ceased to be amazed at the abilities of his student, but in this case there was still a considerable amount of ingenuity. Uzumaki instructed 100 to go train Daten, the second Raiden, and the third gave the task to sleep. Kakashi watched in amazement as the crowd of clones yelled nonsense in totality. As soon as a clone dissipated due to chakra unrestraint, all the clones working on the technique cursed in unison. The original himself sat and studied one of the scrolls. After an hour, Hina and Shikamaru managed to determine their element. Shiki has Daten, and Hinata has Suiton. And Naruto, having dispelled all the clones involved in the possession of techniques, fell down, but after dispelling, and those that were sleeping, he felt better. Kakashi could only speculate how the Uzumaki had come to that conclusion. After dispelling the last clone, the original decided to try out new skills. Chidori, and in his hand the guy had a copy of Sensei's technique, only a little better. Raiden was assembled into a perfect ball, which did not allow a single lightning to escape. Kakashi was taken aback. He spent 2 years creating this technique, and his student learned it in just a few hours. Naruto spent the rest of the day studying the scroll, showing Naruto one of the Daten techniques, and Hinata the Suiton. Their sensei had disappeared somewhere, but for some reason Uzumaki guessed where he had gone. Only the onset of night interrupted the training of young shinobi. The next day was the same as the previous one, except that Naruto was learning Raiden's new technique, and giving hints to his teammates about learning their techniques. 2 days flew by quickly. And then the day came, when Zabuza and the guy in the Anbu mask were supposed to return for Tazuna, the master bridge builder. Kakashi's team was ready to give another rebuff to these apostates, and were waiting for them on the bridge. A couple of hours later they came. Tazuna. Round 1. Konoha's most unpredictable ninja. Kakashi, where's that blonde guy? Zabuza was outraged. What's the difference? You and me will be enough, replied the sensei of the guy, about whom the apostate was interested. Yes, I don't need him, but Haku, another young man appeared next to him, who saved Mamachi last time. Hinata, Shika, guard Tazuna and the builders, sensei commanded. Yes, they answered together. Haku, deal with them, the demon of the mist said boredly, pointing at the genin. Headache is mine. Understood. A moment, and the guy was gone. He soon appeared next to a pair of genin. Hina with a light blow legs, pushed Tazuna away from herself and her partner. Ice mirrors of demons, said the guy, who had previously been wearing an Anbu mask sharply. The 2 genin ended up inside a dome of ice mirrors. Haku entered one of the mirrors, and all the others showed his reflection. The guy moved from one mirror to another with incredible speed. Nara couldn't even see it for a moment, and Hina could only see the chakra left by their enemy. Haku's dance began. He threw senbon at the 2 genin, to which they only shook their heads in the direction from which the needles flew. But the guy was generous, and did not see the point in killing these 2, and thanks to these qualities, he made hedgehogs out of them, but did not aim at the vital organs. When Shikamaru got tired of becoming like a porcupine, he sharply commanded, Hina, the dome. As soon as he said that, the girl, having added the necessary seals, created a water dome around them. Shika sat down in his signature position, sitting on one knee, closed his eyes, and touched the fingers of one hand to the corresponding fingers of the other hand. So for someone who has not yet seen this position, it might seem that the guy will use the technique. But Nara sat and thought about how to get out of the trap created by the ice mirrors. Meanwhile, there was a fight between Headache and Zabuza. The renegade repeated the hidden mist technique, and disappeared from Konoha's Junin's line of sight, thus depriving him of the ability to use his Sharingan. I haven't faced such a dangerous opponent in a long time, Kakashi thought to himself. Thanks to Naruto last time, he got only a slight fright and was surprised, and then only from the strength of the Uzumaki. The guy foresaw problems, and gave Sensei the seal. But Headache was in no hurry to use it, because now Naro was already considering a plan, and Hinata was holding a protective dome that her lover had taught her. The fight had been going on for about 10 minutes. Hinata lowered her dome, and Shikamaru's earthen walls appeared to replace it. Naruto specifically taught these 2 only defensive techniques. Flashback. Nara, the blonde called the black-haired guy, since you have Daten, you will learn the technique of a stone wall, and you are Hinata the water dome. But these are defensive techniques. The lazy man was a little indignant. It's better to show us the shadow cloning technique first, and then teach us the attacking techniques. You won't need attackers, Uzumaki abruptly interrupted. I'll go on the attack. And your task is to protect the target and yourself. And even more so, I won't teach you the shadow cloning technique. It's too chakra consuming. Naruto's answers were sharp, clear, and justified. I would have quarreled with you, but I'm broke, and that's why it's so problematic. The blonde thought. He was annoyed by Nara's inaction, but for some reason the son of the fourth was attracted to this lazy person, as if saying, tell me him about everything, and he will not be surprised. It is even possible that he himself will tell you. Correct, and help to realize. So they decided. I show. You are trying to repeat. The guy with eyes the color of the sky said contentedly. Well, you're a bore, Shika chatted, for which he received a friendly slap on the back of the head. Am not a bore, I just don't want you to be killed ahead of me. I swore an oath to sensei. Hina is perplexed looked at them. From the outside, it seemed that the two had known each other for a long time, and were good friends. And what kind of oath are we talking about? The girl asked. I'll tell you. How we'll end up in Konoha with a successfully completed task. The blonde couldn't decide what face to portray, and it turned out something between. If I said it, then I'll do it, and I don't care. Sit down and I'll tell you. Shiko only laughed when he saw such a ridiculous display of emotions. Naruto followed Nara's example, only he laughed because of the guy, not because of himself, and Hinata only giggled in embarrassment. The Guess What's in Our Heads team laughed together. It didn't matter to them what was the reason for the laughter. The main thing was that it brought them together, and Uzumaki was embarrassed. Naruto, show me to them, Kurama suggested.
No, it doesn't matter now, and the time is unlikely to come when I will show you to them, the guy answered without emotions on his face and extra notes in his voice. When you need me, you will call, and now I'm going to sleep, the fox said calmly. You sleep all the time anyway, let's play some tricks. Devils appeared in the Uzumaki's eyes. And what do you want from me? Bewildered but with curiosity, said Biju. I need you to... The guy began to explain the idea to his brother in a whisper, as if afraid that they would be overheard. Boring. Nothing interesting. When you come up with something fun, call me, and I'll sleep for now. Naruto had a hard time with pranks. He studied shinobi techniques and rules from the age of 3. He had no time to deal with nonsense. The unhappy Uzumaki left his subconscious. So what? Shall we start? Shika nodded lazily, and Hinata waved her hands in agreement. The Jinchuriki began to fold the seals at his usual speed, but when the guy looked at his partners, he realized that they did not have time to look at the seals, since to the naked eye it seemed that Naruto's fingers began to tangle. The blonde began to slowly fold the seals so that his teammates had time to consider and remember them. Shika sat lazily on a tree stump and practiced his seal-folding speed, while Hinata practiced. When Nara began to practice the technique, the first time he made a wall as thick as a cockroach in length, and after scoring everything, he went to bed. Hinata worked hard, and having brought herself to exhaustion, she fell exhausted to the ground. Uzumaki had no choice but to attach movement seals to them. Nara and Hyuga disappeared in a cloud of smoke, Naruto already waiting for them in the room that Tazuna had kindly given him for the duration of the mission. The moment after the appearance of the guy, his partners appeared. He was already expecting them with a clone. The clone carried Nara to the living room of Tazuna's house and laid Hinata on his bed. So, what am I doing? Where did the cold, imperturbable Uzumaki go? The guy kept asking these questions, but then he decided, I need to go to train. The more I train, the less I will think about this lazy person and the little princess. And the Jinchuriki ran into the forest for training. End of flashback, Sensei, use the seal, Nara yelled. We need help. Otherwise, the options for the further development of the battles do not particularly suit me. All right, callback technique. A moment later, a peacefully sleeping Uzumaki appeared in a puff of smoke. Naruto, you also said that Nara is lazy. Get up, come on. The son of the White Fang of Konoha yelled at the guy. Sensei, I'm sleeping, the guy said in a sleepy voice. I gave you a callback seal so that you call me when you need it. and not to pull me out of sleep." The blonde was indignant. It was funny to look at him. The hair was not something that would stick out in all directions, but it seemed that on the head of Uzumaki, while he was sleeping, a dozen birds built their nests. He was dressed in a white t-shirt and orange shorts, 2 palms long from the waist. On the face was an image of the laziness of Nara, the carelessness of a child, and the grace of a girl. When Naruto opened his eyes the color of cornflowers, he saw only mist. "Well, that's what all this is for me," the guy whined. "Futon, free space." The guy looked around. Kakashi, with a wounded right shoulder, fought Zabuza. Shika and Hina took refuge behind the rock wall of Nara in an ice prison. Only the blonde wanted to appreciate the strength of Doton Shikamaru, as the technique had sunk into oblivion. Hinata, seeing the son of the fourth in such form, fainted. Shika tried with all his might to remember this image of Uzumaki, and Hatake only laughed. No, well, imagine a serious guy in such a ridiculous situation, and even in such clothes as for me. Cute. You can't do anything without me? The guy was clearly out of his mind. Keso, sensei, try to be late for training or a task at least once after such a challenge. I'll bury it in the ground and plant flowers on top. So let's get down to business, Kakashi. Using the Sharingan, I think you can still hold out, but for now I will help my partners. Haku, your client, he pointed at the guy. Leave those kids and get busy, Zabuza commanded. Yeah, senpai. So you're the guy who saved Momochi? The Jinchuriki asked. Well, show me what you can do. Tazuna. Round 2. I warned you the taijutsu competition has begun. Haku kept throwing punches at Uzumaki, to which the guy lazily, yawning, dodged and blocked. Then Senbons went into action. The former Anbu had no idea that the son of the fourth was so strong, but the feeling of fighting with someone who is stronger than you gave a huge dose of adrenaline. During the fight with the black-haired guy, Naruto noticed a couple of features of his enemy. Firstly, this guy was painfully like a girl's face. Wide brown eyes, a small smile, long hair, an even oval face, and a cute nose. Secondly, he constantly muttered to himself something similar to, I am Mr. Zabuza's weapon. Thirdly, the speed of movements greatly exceeded even the speed of the Hyuga themselves. The fourth is that Haku attacked not with rage, as is typical of some shinobi, but with curiosity. Haku, right? Asked the owner of the sky-color eyes. Right. Are you Naruto? In the answer asked Shinobi Mist. Yes. Haku, I have a suggestion for you, Uzumaki said, studying his opponent further with curiosity. I'm listening. The guy's voice was not like the voice of a cold-blooded shinobi. It was the voice of a 10-year-old child in the guise of a teenager. I want to make a bet. If I defeat you, the blonde paused for a moment, you will come with us to Konoha. From what he heard, Nara, who was trying to bring Hinata to his senses, raised his eyebrows in surprise, and Hatake only looked at the student incomprehensibly. Zabuza also did not expect such a psycho who will challenge Haku and hopes not only to survive, but also to win. As a result, Konoha's Jonin and the Mist Renegade looked at each other and decided to watch the duel. And if I do, then you will let us finish our task and provide us with provisions for the next 2 days. The owner of the chocolate eyes added, smiling. Kakashi's saucer eyes have already become commonplace, but Momochi clearly agreed with the condition of his ward and stood quieter than water, lower than grass. I agree, only there is one condition. Our fight does not stop until one of us can continue it, or an outsider intervenes in our fight. Well, how? Uzumaki smiled slyly and was confident in his abilities.
It's coming. At that moment Kakashi grabbed the 2 unconscious bodies under his arms and carried them to a safe distance. A duel began between the Mist Renegade Ninja and the Konoha Genin. The 2 returned to taijutsu again. When Haku's next attack failed, Naruto managed to immobilize one of the black-haired's arms with his own, but that wasn't the case. The brunette began to fold the seals with one hand. Naruto, having learned the technique of using the seals with one hand, and the seals that his opponent folded, jumped to a safer distance, as he heard, Suiton, water bullets, futon, air fence. Both techniques were neutralized. A melee clash followed again, but now Haku used his senbon, and Naruto drew a kune. A volley followed with 36 shinbons. Uzumaki beat off 10 with a kune, and let the second 10 hit the ground using futon, a light breath. He dodged the 5, and caught the rest. 3 were between the fingers, and 2 in the mouth. At that moment, Hinata came to her senses, but not for long. Seeing Uzumaki again, she only blushed, but when he, holding 2 shinbon in his mouth, raised his eyebrows a couple of times and winked, looking towards the girl, she returned to her previous state. Imagine for herself, a t-shirt, shorts, a nest, and a face like Jiraiya in the canon, when Naruto threw a rubber ball at him, offering to play catch ball, and he caught him with his teeth. A couple of moments later, the duel continued. Ice release, ice shuriken, futon, white dragon's breath. Uzumaki threw shurikens after the technique, but it turned out that they were also in the ice technique. Bottom line, technicians neutralized. Teika again, crossing kune and senbon, deflecting the flight path of the weapon thrown to Haku. Naruto, stop playing, the owner of the chocolate eyes said politely, as if he was inviting to a dance. Why, I wonder what else you can do, the owner of sky-colored eyes said with a smile. Then I'll start the real fight, the brunette warned. Come on, the blonde said. Ice demon mirror technique. Wow, not bad. How strong are they? Uzumaki's curiosity knew no bounds. Hatake and Mamachi watched the battle without understanding, although it could most likely be called training. Neither one nor the other had intentions to kill their opponent.
And you tried to destroy them. Destroy the mirrors. I admit defeat. Haku was confident in the strength of his technique. Futon, cutting wind. The mirror only cut a little, but no more. Well, let's have some fun. Uzumaki lit up everyone with his hateful smile of thirst, to try out a new technique. Haku began to act on the same principle, as when fighting Hina and Shika. I see, you decided to amuse me to the fullest, Ditbeo, but this is wonderful. Start. The blonde stood in the very middle of the trap, and only examined the mirrors. You asked for it yourself. The owner of the chocolate eyes began to shower the blue-eyed senbon, while moving from one mirror to another. Futon, free space level 2. A field of changeable wines arose around the blonde. Not a single projectile reached the target. And you are not easy. Haku was pleased with the battle with a strong opponent. Let's use the techniques, otherwise I'm starting to get bored, the son of the fourth answered, yawning a little. I only warn you once, when I get bored, you will lose, so have fun with me. Wow, how formidable. Zabuza laughed, for which he received a wound on his left cheek, from 3 senbon caught by Naruto in his hands, and on the right from 2, that were in the guy's teeth. Mamachi didn't even understand anything before blood began to flow from his cheeks. Distract me again, and for the next 2 weeks, you won't be able to use your hands, and you won't be able to use the technique either. Am I making it clear? Joy and fun instantly disappeared from the face of the guy. There was only seriousness. Kid, if you can dispel my mist by using the futon, then it will not give you the opportunity to threaten the demon of the mist. The apostate replied threateningly. I warned you, Haku. Wait a minute. Only after finishing addressing the guy, Uzumaki began to seal the seals. Dotten, ground hold, Dotten, swamp, Dotten, quicksand. The first technique caught Mamachi's arms and, with a sharp pull, forced him to bend down to the bridge. The second dissolved the ground under the feet of the apostate, and the third made Zabuza sink into the dissolved earth. When the blonde finished the technique, the mist demon was up to his neck, in the concrete bridge, and howled from the pain in his arms. I give you the last chance, even a word in my direction, and you will not only be left with broken hands, but only your head will remain intact among everything. The choice is yours. Haku was about to intervene and get his senpai, as they heard, "Futon, duel to the point of exhaustion." A field arose around the guys, which did not let out or let anyone in. "I asked you to wait, do not even try to leave our duel. Until you win or lose, I will not dispel the technique." Hatake was amazed. No, not like that. He was in mood shock. His student, in the blink of an eye, managed to immerse one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, deprive him of his hands, show his serious intentions, protect his fight from the audience and their interference, show himself impartial and unemotional from the side, to which the sensei thought that the guy was already even in Anbu, and in doing so, he used only a small part of his strength. "Haku, how are you? Are you fighting or giving up? There is only one but. If you give up, I will be obliged to neutralize your techniques, in the same way as Zabuza. Decide, you have a minute." A few seconds later. Ice release, iceberg shards. "That's great," the Uzumaki grinned. "Katen, shield of the lava dragon. Arch, Tazuna. End. Katen, shield of the lava dragon. Do you even use Kato?" For some reason, Haku was not particularly surprised. Combinations of techniques began. Daten, viscous earth. Suiten, ice wind. "Just something, it's not interesting with you." Boredom began to overcome the Uzumaki. "Futon, free space is the last stage." Naruto hung in the air for a bit, surrounded by an air shield. As a result, not a single technique reached the blonde. "Haku, if you don't break through this shield within 2 minutes, I'll show my sensei the power of the completed technique. You have not yet used any of the attacking techniques for their intended purpose. From this we can conclude that you are a ninja of an exclusively defensive character. Do not lie to yourself. You don't think I've reached my full potential, do you? Haku, will you destroy my shield? No, show yourself. Prove that your words are not empty talk. Use that technique," the former ninja of the mist insisted. "Kakashi, get my teammates out of here, and get the builders away. You have 3 minutes." Zabuza was just about to taunt, when he remembered what position he was in, and therefore decided to remain silent. "Haku, attack, you still have time," the guy politely asked the fight. "Well, if you ask so," the owner of the chocolate eye responded. "Suiten, water dragon." The shield completely absorbed the blow. "Suiten, water bomb." "Daten, earth projectiles." The shield vibrated. Naruto smiled. Finally Haku began a serious fight, though Uzumaki had already decided to end the duel. "Futon, through shinbans." The technique came out unstable, but strong enough. The shield began to crack. The son of the 4th was now sitting sad. He was already indifferent. The time allotted to destroy the guy's shield had expired. The defense itself was only slightly cracked. Haku used too much chakra. For him, not for the Uzumaki. "Your time is up, now it's my turn," the 10-year-old boy said coldly. Futon, the strongest Mebukazan winds. 3 powerful wind currents began to blow towards the brunette. Katen, Goryuka no Jutsu, fire dragon technique. Without stopping for a break, the Uzumaki folded the seals. A huge fire dragon followed the currents of the wind. With such a strong futon technique, Kato's strength increased 3 times. Haku, seeing a fire dragon of this size, quickly began to form the seals of Suiten, Futon, and Daten. Suiten, water barrier. Futon, headwind. Daten, stone golems. After the last folded seal, Haku took cover behind one of the mirrors. All of the brunette's techniques failed. The renegade apprentice couldn't believe his eyes, and neither could his sensei. The brunette's strongest defensive techniques were completely blown away in an instant. "Try again to say that I'm not an attacking ninja. I didn't attack just because I was interested in your abilities, but no more. And now it's time for the promised technique." The blonde summoned a clone. After adding the element of wind to the Racenin, the guy gave his opponent one last chance. "I have no reason to kill you. but I have a mission to complete, and therefore, if you join us, I will leave your life with you." The son of the fourth was not allowed to finish. How curious, the mist demon was defeated by a genin, and his keke genkai wielding student was not even equal to that blonde guy. "I have a proposal for you. Leave your village to me, and you will live in abundance, and you will not need anything." The undersized man in a black suit smiled. "Gato, why did you come here?" "I will do my job," Zabuza yelled at the newcomer. "Is this boar your customer?" "Although it does matter anymore, I'll kill him now," the owner of cornflower eyes and sun-colored hair said in an indifferent voice. "What do you allow yourself?" "Guys, kill this jerk," commanded the shorty. Behind him, several dozen mercenaries immediately appeared, who rushed at the blonde. "You didn't decide to attack me at the right time." Futon, Raceman Shuriken. After announcing the name of the technique, the yellow-haired one rushed at the entire crowd of shinobi. They just laughed, but how wrong they were. As soon as the blonde reached the first shinobi, he struck with a technique. It would be impossible to identify the first 5 people, since there was nothing left of them except for the blood splashed on all sides. The last 3 managed to avoid the blow, and then only because they began to run away, even before the first touch of the front technique. As a result, 3 mercenaries and Gato remained. "Now I'm going to kill you," the blood-splattered Uzumaki said coldly. No, have mercy," the dwarf pleaded. "You interrupted my fight, called me a jerk, and now you dare to beg for mercy? You are the scum of this world. I will cleanse it of you." As soon as the guy rushed to Gato, Hadake blocked his way. "Kakashi, get out of the way," he coveted the sacred. The son of the White Fang was astounded, more than he could possibly have been. The blonde was now covered in blood from head to toe, and he had a killer look in his eyes. This frightened even shinobi with great fighting experience. Hadake could not believe his eyes. The guy who only yesterday was laughing was joking. Today, after the call, he threatened a little jokingly, and now he had the look of a killer. Kakashi got the feeling that the guy grew up in a country where there was a war. Now it was clearly visible. In addition to the look of the killer, there was also regret in his eyes. But the main thing is that the appearance said, the guy hates violence and war, but suppressing this feeling in himself, he kills his enemies. "Naruto, don't. It's not worth the effort," the sensei tried to reassure the student, but in vain. "Sensei, get out of the way. I don't want to harm you." The blonde didn't give out any emotions, but he smelled of pity, unhappy childhood. Hadake could not resist the words of his teacher's son. Now the guy was as determined as his sensei on missions. Kakashi stepped aside. Gato fell to the ground, awaiting his fate. The Uzumaki was walking slowly at a measured pace, but then he was stopped. Naruto-kun, don't, Hinata, grabbing the guy from behind by the waist, began to cry. Naruto looked at her in bewilderment. Although he looked like a maniac, a psycho, the girl reached out to her lover and kissed him like that. Flashback. Pav Hinata. "Leave me alone, let me go," I screamed with all my strength. I got hit. I didn't see anything else. I woke up lying on the couch. I heard the sound of a closing door. "Hinata, are you awake?" said a familiar voice from somewhere nearby. "Why, yes. Where am I?" "In the eyes is still a little floating." "In his Hokage's office," the third said. "Hokage-sama, how did I end up here?" I sat on the sofa. My vision returned to normal. "Uzumaki Naruto brought you, and now it's my turn to ask you questions. What happened between you and these?" He pointed to my captors. Only now they were unconscious and lay bound. "Hokage-sama, they kidnapped me. When I screamed, they hit me, and I lost consciousness. Then I woke up here. I don't remember anything else." "Well, I think you will not forget to thank your savior." Horizon smiled sweetly. "And now, Tenzo." Anbu appeared in front of the Hokage. "I need Hiashi." "Yes, Hokage-sama." Anbushnik disappeared. "Are you chilling here? Shout out of here. As I see it, you are healthy. So clear the office." If you want to talk to the savior, then hurry up before he leaves. The third was calm, and a little cheerful. I'm on my way. I vacated the office. I ran through the corridors with all my might, hoping to see my savior. And then, I ran into our newcomer to the academy. What do you want? He asked calmly. When he turned to me, I saw him up close. Wheat-colored hair, messy hairstyle, pale blue eyes, 3 stripes on the cheeks, a stern look. God, he is so kind and sweet. For the first time I was able to be so close to him. What difference does it make that he is 2 years younger? Communication is not a hindrance. I just hovered in the clouds, but after that, I abruptly returned to the ground. You Uzumaki and Naruto, are you? I stuttered a little. I said, well, and so what? The indifference and calmness of the guy just killed me. I must have to thank you. So, I got this hiccup. Thank you. For some reason I got the feeling that he had never been thanked. I got lost. What should I do? Damn, I've never been in this situation. What to do? What to do? My thoughts were interrupted. Well, how long do I have to wait for a thank you? Guy in sight indeed not understood nothing about gratitude. Where did he live? So, what should I do? I was confused, nothing came to my mind. Then I closed my eyes, a rush of emotions, thoughts in a fog. The brain forgot about the importance of the think action. When I opened my eyes, no, it can't be. I kissed this blonde. Timid, gentle, unobtrusive, this is the only thing I could pick up. It seemed like a fairy tale to me. For some reason the clouds seemed to be at my feet. I wanted to run somewhere, scream as well, and then I realized that it seems that I love him. This blue-eyed happiness stood wide-eyed, and did not understand what was happening. I abruptly pulled away from him. Why did I do this? Fool, now he will hate me. When these thoughts arose in my head, I ran. I was running somewhere, not looking at the road, not looking at those around me. I just ran. End flashback. The guy didn't believe what happened. Amazement ran across his imperturbable face, and it settled down firmly there. This butcher could not take a step. He seemed to have forgotten what he was going to do a moment ago. The blonde hugged the girl. He didn't do anything, just stood there hugging her. For them, the world stopped. Reality didn't matter, they just stood by. Hade could not stand on the bridge. He just saw the beast in his student, and could not stop him. But his student returned the guy from the world of the enemy's blue list. Shikamaru, quietly opening his eyes, insistently did not believe them. But then this idol was interrupted by the voice of Uzumaki. Kakashi, put that crap away. He pointed at Gato, so that I won't see him again, or the last thing he'll see is me with the Rasengan. Such a sharp change in the guy's mood deserved praise, and a slap on the back of the head. Praise. He is a shinobi, and a shinobi should not betray his feelings. The slap, for the fact that a girl is standing next to him, hugs him, and he is a pig. Hate, without stopping, tied Gato and carried him towards the village. Haku, you lost the bet. So you are coming with us, the blonde said indifferently. The boy with the chocolate eyes couldn't object. Although his opponent also used such destructive techniques, it did not affect the appearance at least. Daten, the cancellation technique. Zabuza began to come out of the ground. Haku immediately picked him up. Nara, take Hina, the blonde gave the girl, who was already holding in his arms, to his partner. What with her? Shika asked, scared. Nothing, I just got nervous and tired, and that's all, the owner of the nest calmly replied. The remnants of the Gat gang disappeared in an unknown direction. The Konoha team ended up guarding Tazuna, who completed his bridge, and named it after the strongest shinobi he had seen, the great Naruto Uzumaki Bridge. The guy was flattered by such an honor, but did not refuse. Gato went to the inhabitants of the village of our bridge builder, and Naruto never saw him again, and the mist apostates, having fulfilled the persuasion of Haku and Uzumaki, returned with them to the leaf. Preparation. A few months after the arc, Tazuna. So tired of doing nonsense, said the guy, who was in the top 3 on the right. He was dressed in a black sweater with orange patterns, and the same orange pants. A cloak was thrown over the guy, again orange, with red flames below, List's bandage on his forehead, the same creative mess on his head. Under the cloak was a pair of katanas. The blonde himself became taller, by 10-15 centimeters, looked like at least 16 years old, but he was only 11 years old. Well, of course, you only have a more difficult task, and fight more in them. Whining was heard from the brunette, who was standing in the top 3 on the left. Mesh t-shirt, gray pants, a dark blue sweater over a t-shirt, a leaf sign sewn into the jacket on the left shoulder, pineapple hairstyle. This guy also did not lag behind his partner, specially embroidered a pouch on his right shoulder, in which there was a mini scroll. He approximately also grew up, matured, seemed to be 2 years older, that is, 15 years old, and remained the same lazy person whom the blonde met, at one time on the roof. Boys, stop quarreling, the only girl from the team, joined in the conversation. Fishnet t-shirt, purple and white sweater, blue pants, neck bandage, long flowing hair. Well, how long? A little longer than the previous one. The girl became taller than the guys. At this age, girls tend to grow taller, more feminine, bold, cold-blooded, but only on missions, and then in rare cases. The same. In the sky, the whole trinity saw a circling falcon. Their sensei had been running ahead for a long time, but his team of genin walked behind with a measured step, moreover, arm in arm. Everyone is used to seeing them that way. If out of the corner of your eye, you saw one of the guys, then his teammates are sure to go nearby, or rather friends. This couple, from a lazy and quiet, managed to knock out all the nonsense of the opinion of a loner, and now they were everywhere together. They were even nicknamed the Trinity of Inseparable Genin, which they always smiled at. The gathering of sensei was announced. What could happen? Asked the team tactician. I don't know, but although the team strategist was not allowed to finish his reflections. The Chunin exams are coming soon, the team face replied. Small digression. The team's tactician is Shikamaru. His combat tactics, and knowledge of techniques, allowed him to correctly choose the main targets for Uzumaki's attacks, and protect him and Hina.